This is a show where two mates sit around and have a chat, and probably gets a little bit heated sometimes about football leadership and football management. But we look at the comparisons with business leadership and business management. It's the reason why Sir Alex Ferguson and Jose Mourinho paid the big money to come into universities and businesses to show exactly how they are the leaders on the sidelines, leading their teams to titles and cups and trophies that have left a legacy of the years they've put in as service. Now, on the show, as usual, is one of my best mates, Ash. Do you want to say hello?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot, Ash. Now, every week, I think we're getting a bit better at this. We're going to develop more with it. But in the last show, we had a little discussion about the derby, United derby, or Manchester derby, sorry. And I know that that's something you really want to start with straight away. So let's hear your thoughts on it.
Well, first of all, going into the game after the results we had, no one saw us winning it. Even hearing in the studios Roy Keane and Micah Richards beforehand, but the way we started the game and the way we played, we were just off on the front foot, and we got the penalty straight away, and not only did it wasn't like a snatch and grab. We actually played really well, which is surprising. I speak to a lot of United fans. We played amazing. We could have had 3 or 4 chances. Of course, City get chances. They always do. They're that good. But to go there and win, and with the pressure as well of everyone around us winning, we had to win that game, because top 4 now is so much tighter with 10 games to go. And this is where it's the busy end of the season. And as a United fan, it was just an unbelievable result. And a big mention to Martial. To come into that team and play the way he did was unbelievable, bearing in mind he was nowhere to be seen for the Crystal Palace. Well done, Ollie, for managing that.
I don't know if you saw, but the team minus 2 players was the same team that you beat City with last year. So what do you reckon Ollie was thinking? Do you think he was thinking like, they've been there, they've been on the pitch, they know that confidence, they've got that belief they can win there, to put the same team in? Because, like you just said, Martial was not performing, and he put him in, and he won the penalty in the first couple of minutes.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of talk about that, and I think, there's if you've been there and you've won, you have the experience of going to the stadium and playing against that team and the way they play. You have that experience. So it definitely played a part, but we played slightly different. Our central defence that has been criticised all year took more of a risk. They went more forward. By them pushing up the pitch, we can push up the pitch. So again, it's another slight tactical change by Ollie, which definitely helped. But yeah, I mean, Scott McTominay, he scored that wonder goal a year ago now. So he had the experience, and it's good. Listen, one record had to be broken, and they're on a massive winning streak. It's a Manchester derby, and we went there and won 2-0. It's an unbelievable result.
Yeah. Well, remember who predicted it, yeah?
Yeah, well done. Ladbrokes, I'm sure, are laughing in their socks now because they've got a big payout coming to you.
Yeah, I was going to put a tenner on that. One of the highlights to me with that, really, it's a specific player, and I want to talk about him because Luke Shaw, when he came to United, I think he signed him, 35 million, was it, from Southampton?
No, 25.
25 million. And he started off well, and unfortunately, he broke his leg, very early on.
Yeah,
I'll continue. And that literally, it was amazing. It was a miracle for him to even come back. So when he came back, he had no real confidence, and you don't blame him really, because anyone going in for a tackle is going to think, shit, I don't want to break my leg again. But, Van Gaal has come out and said that he wasn't fit and he lacked belief. And then Mourinho came in and pretty much called him out in the games which he wasn't any good in. And then Ollie has come in, and he's had him at a bad time, but he's put his arm around him. He's had the arm around the shoulder management and leadership, and he's put that good feeling into Ollie. So as you know, this is all about leadership and management. So I just want to talk about that really, like different types of management for certain types of players. So now they're getting the best out of Luke Shaw because of it.
You know what? It's a great point. Like, I've been one of his biggest criticisers. His career at United, I mean, a lot of people, you know, in the United fans will know, you know, he was overweight. He didn't look after himself. So when he had a period where he was playing good for Van Gaal. Then we played in that Champions League game. He broke his leg, and it was an unbelievable break. It was bad. It could have been career-ending. But he come back, but he never really reached the heights. He was always injured here, injured there. And there's a lot of stories go around where he lived with people that were a bad influence on him. Like, he lived in a house full of his mates, and they ordered pizza every day. And you could see when he come onto a pitch, he nowhere near looked after himself. He was overweight. And Jose Mourinho, or Jose as you like to call, was right to call him out. Van Gaal was right to call him out. But then Ollie's come in and managed him. And, you know, Ollie must have said something like, listen, you have a one chance in a lifetime to play for Manchester United, sort your diet out, sort yourself out, get fit, and let's get cracking. And Ollie's done amazing. And now, you know, he's one of the best left backs in the country, I think, at the moment, for his goals, his assists, and his play. And he gives us an outlet. And that's what Man United have been screaming for him to do for the last, he's been with us 5-6 years now. You know, he's been with us a long time.
You have Trent on the left for Liverpool, isn't he? He's on the left, Trent.
He's right.
Oh, is he right? Yeah. So okay, I was going to say that's he's definitely going to be challenging him for the Euros, I guess. But well, got the side of the pitch wrong.
You know, left-sided. I don't think we've got tons of good right backs. You know, and I don't want to go into too much, but Wan-Bissaka, there's a reason why. It's very strange to say he's the most expensive right back in the country, but he's the 5th best in the country. He's a good defender, but going forward, he is woeful. And if you speak to anyone that plays football, whether it's semi-pro, pro, grassroots, he is woeful going forward, and he needs to improve. Defending, amazing. In the modern game, being from Man United, you have to be good going forward.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Well, I mean, he's only, was he 22, something like that? So he's definitely got time, a little bit of time. Hopefully. But let's move on from the derby then. Very happy because look, you know, I'm a Chelsea fan, but I want to see things hotting up a little bit. I want the mix to come in. I want there to be a bit of push at the end of the season. See if anyone can catch City. Let's see if they wobble a little bit. Who knows? Got to put the pressure on them, see if they crack. But there was a big game on the weekend with a team trying to get out the bottom 3, and they went to Anfield. And Liverpool have now lost 6 on the bounce at home, which is just an incredible thing to happen. I think they went 65 games unbeaten at Liverpool. Still not broken Chelsea's record, but we'll leave it at that. And Scott Parker, the manager for Fulham, got a 1-0 win. And all of a sudden now there's a belief Fulham can get out of it. So I just want to talk really about Scott Parker and linking that then with British managers, really.
Yeah, I mean, I listened to a very interesting podcast. I always listen to Gary Neville podcasts after a game and listen to his insight. And he spoke about when he was doing his badges, and there's a guy that teaches all the managers and, you know, goes through managers. And the guy, this is like 5-6 years ago, turned around and said to Gary Neville, Scott Parker. And then Gary Neville took a step back and thought, for this guy to mention Scott Parker to me, he must know something could be good. And then you look at what Scott Parker's done. The manager got sacked. He took over at Fulham. He got them back up in a year and a half, back in the Premier League. You know, the first 2 or 3 games, I think they lose all of them and they get battered by teams.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now, compared to the bottom, the 3 bottom teams, they look the most likely to come out of it. And like Gary Neville says, he's doing a special job. And I think he's not getting applauded. And I think if he does keep Fulham up, which is a strong possibility now, he deserves a lot of plaudits. And, you know, what he's achieved in his short career, promotion, and then hopefully if he keeps them up, it will be unbelievable. And I think he's definitely one to watch out for in the future.
Yeah, I listened to that podcast as well, and that was a really good point that he raised. But what he also mentioned was the British managers or the English managers that are coming through, like Scott Parker, and why that is, what has influenced them. And the biggest thing are the managers, the foreign managers. So, it was only for a short amount of time, but Scott Parker had Jose Mourinho as a manager. And then you've got Steven Gerrard, who had Jurgen Klopp for a little while, Gerard Houllier. And then you've got some big players, Frank Lampard with all those world-class managers as well. And it's the last 20 years that have now allowed, because there was a question of, are we going to have any English managers that are going to be able to coach? And Lampard was the top 4 manager, the British guy for the last God knows how many years, English manager. And but now there seems to be an influx of talent coming through. You've got John Terry that might be doing quite well as well. But they spoke about they were just going to leave the game and do punditry. But it seems now he seems to be having a few people coming through. So what do you think has helped from the foreign managers inspire them and influence them?
I think all the foreign managers have had an influence. And I think these managers that do their badges, they must look at, like, football has evolved. Like, I heard someone say this is like almost the Pep Guardiola era, where teams are used to playing out from the back because of what Pep Guardiola done. But I think a lot of British managers are taking that on board. But a lot of British managers don't necessarily get the chance sometimes that they deserve, because it's better going for a Ancelotti or this or that, whatever. But there's definitely good British managers out there, like Eddie Howe's on the sidelines. His next job will be good. I look at him as potential England manager. But if they're all taking different bits. Like Lampard would have learned stuff off of Ancelotti, Mourinho, Scolari would have learned different things off of all these managers. So there's definitely an influx of English managers coming through. It's whether they'll get their chance and whether they'll do a good job.
Yeah, that is the risk or the worry, isn't it, really, that you only get a short amount of time. And as we know, you don't get much time. But then you get managers come in like Tuchel out of nowhere as, 10 games unbeaten now. And from going no hopes to top 4 to right in the mix of it now. Like, it was vital we won at Everton. And then vital, like we have to stay in the mix with this. Like, and then now with Spurs coming through as well, what could happen here? It's really, really hotting up. But if you had to have a manager that's going to get you through that time to battle it and secure top 4, who do you want?
Out of who? Or anyone?
Well, no, the managers that are in there now. So you've got Rodgers, Klopp, Jose, Tuchel, like who Ollie. Who you put in?
I'll be biased.
Yeah.
I'll be biased. And people will say, "Oh, typical United fan," but I'd say Ollie, because last year we were nowhere to be seen, and he picked Brendan Rodgers to top 4. So Brendan Rodgers didn't get top 4.
No.
Frank Lampard should have had top 4 sewn up months ago. He didn't. So what Ollie's done, gained from that experience, he's improved himself, and we're second in the league now. And he has that experience now with the players to get there. Mourinho didn't get Tottenham to top 4. So is he going to do it this year? He's very behind. So out of all the managers, I would pick Ollie. But Tuchel, who's come in, you have to look at his results. Beat Everton, rival. He's beat Tottenham, rival. And he's gone and beat Liverpool, top 4 rival. Those 3 games are unbelievable. And I think he's beaten every single team. They haven't even conceded against them. He's shored up the defence. He's made them solid. They do play very ticky-tacky football. But, he's got Havertz playing, Werner playing well. It is a massive turnaround. And, you never said after Lampard, Chelsea would be in top 4. But they're almost nailed on for top 4 with the results they've had.
Yeah, I think he's brought Alonso back out of the wilderness as well, who could only ever play a back 5. That was why Conte brought him in, and we had a success. And now that's how Chelsea are playing again. I think Lampard was trying to play a 4 at the back. We're now playing a 3, and can call it a 3 at the back or a 5 at the back, whatever. But that's his strength. So Alonso's come back in, and we've been looking solid ever since.
Yeah, it's good. Good luck.
So I think as well with this, it's where the manager's priority lies. And I would probably think that Mourinho would prefer to win the Europa League. Sorry, the not Europa League. What is it? The
UEFA Cup.
UEFA Cup, sorry, the UEFA Cup rather than getting top 4? Is he going to put all his eggs in the UEFA basket?
Yeah, listen, if he wins it, they get Champions League. So, but what Daniel Levy will be saying to him is, I want Champions League. If they don't get Champions League this year, then players of a certain age, Harry Kane, Son, want to be playing in Champions League football. So are they still going to be there? So it's big for Tottenham this year. They've got the new stadium. They've got a load of debt. They need Champions League football.
But as a manager, if you're on the cusp of top 4 and you're in the UEFA Cup still, where's your focus lying? You've only got a certain size squad, and with all the games coming up, you've got to rest some players.
It's hard. You have to balance the two, because there's no guarantee you're going to win the UEFA Cup.
No. But
there's more of a chance that teams will slip up, and out of the last 10 games, you could win 6 or 7 games. Tottenham more incapable of that. I mean, he done it with United. We finished, I think, 7th that year, and we only got in Champions League because he won the Europa League.
Yeah.
So he put his eggs in one basket. It's difficult. If I was Jose, I'll be looking at the league table and treat, the Europa as, let's get to another stage, because they're not even playing good teams at the minute. I mean, United are getting all the good teams. We've had Real Sociedad. Now we've got AC Milan. It's like we're knocking out the best ones. So
maybe that's even more of a point, them concentrating on the UEFA then, because if they're getting bad teams,
well, if they get us, they're stuffed.
We'll have to see about that. Who knows? Right. So another question coming up. Joachim, how do you know if you pronounce his name? But Joachim Lowe has confirmed that he's stepping down after the Euros as Germany manager. This is 15 years of service for Germany. And if you remember, Germany were a disgrace 15 years ago. I think they went out in the knockout stages and they put this project together for Germany. And the youth team came through. I think they won like a youth cup. And then out of nowhere, bam, Germany just started winning everything. So what do you think is key from what he did there, really, as a manager? What do you reckon his key development parts were?
Developing the younger players and having, again, it's like a evolution of like France when they won 98, and then they went back to the drawing board, and then they come back in 2018 with the evolution of players and the way they play. But honestly, the way Joachim Lowe's team played was unbelievable. But you have to remember, when they were at their most successful was when Pep Guardiola was manager of Bayern Munich, okay, and he was having those players like Philipp Lahm, Schweinsteiger. Did he have? No, I think he sold Cruz. He had a couple more like Hummels, and he had them playing a certain way. Then if you looked at how Germany played, with Neuer basically playing as an absolute sweeper, Germany, like the football was unbelievable. And there was absolutely blitzing team. After the World Cup happened, they won in 2014. 2014? No. Yeah, 2014 World Cup. They won extra time against Argentina. They kicked on from there, but they never really come really close again to it. I think they got to maybe semis or even quarters, but they never cemented it like Spain did, Euros, World Cup, Euros.
Yeah.
But listen, his legacy will go down. They won the World Cup. What more can you say? That he brought the World Cup back to Germany.
It's interesting because he had this. He got rid of a lot of players, didn't he? In the last one, I think he got rid of Hummels. I think Ozil got the blame for everything, and I think that was probably his demise in the end. And you see that with AVB. That's now what's happened with Lampard as well. So you can be this great manager and try to make change, but the transition's got to be a little bit at a time. You can't have this massive clear out, and it's the same in a business. You can't get rid of everybody and say, let's start again, because your business will just go nowhere. You have 6 months of complete shambles. So you move pieces around.
Managers.
Pardon?
You have to keep some managers and leaders.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's quite interesting you say that, because Mark Noble, I don't know if you saw, Mark Noble was just extended his contract for 1 year with West Ham. Now, they're on an absolute high at the moment, but I think what's really interesting about what's happened there is he is a voice in the locker room.
Yeah.
And he doesn't play that much, but you see him, he's West Ham through and through. You know, he will probably transition to the coaching team as well after that. And that is a smart move by Dave Moyes. Like, he can easily have got rid of him, but I think that would have upset stuff. Like, Declan Rice is obviously a much better player now than Mark Noble, but he will train Declan Rice to be a better captain.
Yeah. No, I think you need to keep that sort of experience, and you know, like, you need a leader in the dressing room as well as a manager who's going to be a leader on the pitch, and that's what he is for West Ham. And you know what, as British managers go, David Moyes is having an absolute stormer this year. They're still in contention for top four. They could, you know, there's 10 games left. They could get top four, which is unbelievable. West Ham, you never would have thought that.
I know, it is mad. Please God it doesn't happen, but you know. West Ham fans are too noisy, too noisy. So to finish this off, we always finish off with manager decision of the week. Talk to me.
Thoughts, yeah. Do you know what? I always struggle on this. So, you know, I look at the decisive moments in games that win games. And I think, you know, I could be biased, but Ollie resting Martial, not even having him in the squad against Palace, then bringing him back in for the Man City game and him winning that penalty, and the way he played, I think was a masterstroke, because Martial has been so bad. He has been so bad. And he's come back in one of the biggest games of the season where we need to win. And he was man of the match. So I think, you know, I'll be biased, United fan. I think that is my decision of the week. I think Tuchel deserves a mention as well for Havertz, the way he played in that game, the way he's managed him. You know, he's had a tough time coming to England. You know, it's not normal circumstances coming to England as a footballer, because, you know, you can't go out and explore London, all the fantastic places. You're locked away with your family at home, you know. So it's, you know, it's completely different from what they expected. And hopefully when things open up, maybe, you know, they'll express their personality more, you know, and they're able to, you know, obviously improve next year and play better. Because mental health does play an absolute key part in this for all players. And everything's been talked about by Ollie, Klopp, you know, draining the players. And I think, you know, this year, you know, whoever wins, City win the league this year, no fan will see that. No fan will see their team, Man City, win that league. So next year is a massive year when everything gets back to normal.
Yeah, no, nicely finished off there, Ash. So that's it for another episode of Two Mates Talking About Football. Hopefully you guys feel this is just like any other time. You're in the living room, you're in the pub, you're in the beer garden, and everyone's got an opinion and you're having a chat away. That's the experience we want to try and give. If you got any comments, any topics you want to talk about next week for us to talk about, comment and let us know. But that's it for now. Ash, I will see you next week.
Take care. All the best.
Nice one. Laters.